hard with the car. Team Brass to give me all the support and all the stuff we need to put on the car to make it competitive. So yeah, no, it feels great.
We've just gone out with new engine in the V8 and doesn't want to run properly at the top end on the carburation, so I think we're down in 5th or 6th. That's desperately bad for us.
Tell us about the new engine.
Well, hopefully it should be very good. It's got more torque than the old one. I think John's probably got a similar level of power, but a lot more torque, which is obviously good in a race situation. But we are struggling with the carburation.
I went testing last week, did a lot of development work with the car, and after testing and qualifying this morning, it looks like some of it's paid off.
Now, Mike, lower down the field, in terms of qualifying positions, is that an advantage?
It can be and it can't be. As you all know, people love coming from the back in Eurocars. It could work to his advantage, it might not do. It depends on the start and if Barry's going to play with him or not.
Brands Hatch also saw a new development, for there were to be pit stops. They'd already been tried at Croft, and Hodgson's team have proved to be very quick. So too the Arco team of Paul Eaton, whereas Mike Jordan, the championship leaders, had been practicing really hard to try and gain an advantage. And it was those pit stops that would prove crucial in this opening race of round 7. Jordan, with those engine problems, started back in 6th place on the grid, whereas Hodgson started from pole with the veteran Barry Lee alongside him and Kevin Clark tucked in behind on the outside of the second row. Side by side down through paddock and up the rise to Druids they went. Hodgson getting the jump on arch-rival Lee, Kevin Clark slotting in 3rd, but Jordan picking up places round the outside, or at least trying to, was now 5th. Make that 6th. Hodgson stretched his legs and opened up a 3-car advantage, but Barry Lee, with pushing hard in 3rd place, had both Mark Willis and Mike Jordan over him like the proverbial rash, while behind, Graham Miller was launched into the tyre wall to give the marshals some extra exercise. On board with Mark Willis pushing hard behind Barry Lee, up ahead it was still Jordan in white and Clark in yellow who continued to press home their advantage. The pit stop started and Mike Jordan and Alf Bora were the first two to come in. Would all that practice that Jordan's team have been putting in pay off? As the car came to a standstill and Phil White arrived for his new set of tyres, the teams went to work. Jack under, and there was a problem. That cost valuable seconds while Hodgson's crewmen looked for their man. Jordan got out, although it was a long stop. And Hodgson then finally arrived. His crew went to work. Jack under, car up, 6 wheel nuts removed, new tyres put on the outside. And the clock ticked away. Hodgson, though, getting out just ahead of Barry Lee. Barry Lee was certainly the one to gain the advantage. He picked up a couple of seconds in the pit lane. Great work from his crew, but Hodgson, smooth as ever down through Graham Hill Bend and looking hard in his mirrors. But there was about to be a turn of events that would benefit the 77 car. Black and yellow flags at the start line signifying that the officials had spotted a wheel nut on the track up at Druids. That brought out the black and yellows. The marshals went to pick up the offending article. And after a couple of laps under the caution flag, with the field now closed up, it was time for the greens to fly. Hodgson did his job and got away quickly, but with Lee and then Jordan tucked in right behind him, could he hold them off up the hill to Druids? Tony Gale was 4th, with behind him Paul Eaton in 5th. And Jordan now up to 2nd. Having pressed ahead of Barry Lee, Mike Jordan now set about his task of reeling in Stevie Hodgson. As they'd arrived here at Brands Hatch, just 30 points separated the two. With 200 points at stake for the winner and 175 points for second, that gap could be closed even further. Hodgson, desperate to hang on, attacked the Druids corner on the penultimate lap. but he ran wide, and Jordan seized the opportunity gleefully with both hands. Positions now reversed, and that would mean that Mike Jordan would leave Brands Hatch with a 55-point advantage over the Yorkshireman. Stevie Hodgson chased hard home to the flag, but it wasn't to be, and Barry Lee picked points in the second race. Not before Mark Willis, though, had got himself all crossed up coming out of Clearways. The man from Slough later confirming that he couldn't get his setup quite right for the Indy circuit. Jordan flew through the field and was soon right on the back bumper again of Stevie Hodgson, with Clark third and Barry Lee ever present in fourth place. The chase to the flag, though, saw Hodgson take a well-deserved victory, and Jordan broke a gear on the final corner, letting Clark through to be second. But the victory, perhaps a hollow one for Hodgson. So, after 7 rounds, the halfway point of the championship, Mike Jordan and Stevie Hodgson are locked together. Just 10 points separate the two. Their advantage being shown, look at the distance back to third place Paul Eaton. Well, we catch up to date with the V8s at Donington right after the break. Welcome to Donington Park, the national circuit this weekend for the Eurocar V8s as they continue their championship, and amongst them is Alf Bora.
We're really just starting to get on the pace now. At Brands last time we were third quickest in qualifying. I threw it all away a bit in the racing, to be honest, and a lot of that was my fault. But it's coming together, and we had a good day testing yesterday.
Now, we've got qualifying coming up. What would you hope for a grid position?
I'd hope to get in the top 3, you know, like, I know the circuit fairly well. I used to do a lot of Thunderous learning here, and the car was going particularly well yesterday, so hopefully we can be on it today.
And in terms of the development that Stevie Hodgson and Hodgson Motorsport have been doing with you, how is that progressing?
No, well, I mean, what's happening is that I'm getting a much faster track through the system by using Stevie, because he knows what he's doing, and what tends to happen is he'll do a little bit of development, I'll do a bit, and then the whole thing gets thrown together, so we end up, you know, like making huge jumps as opposed to a little tiny bit at a time.
Well, we'll see later on whether Alf Bora is going to be able to make those huge jumps, but earlier I caught up with the man who's helping him with that technical development, Stevie Hodgson. Steve, we find you in your office and there's just 10 points separating you and Mike. Are you going to pass him today?
It's going to be difficult today. It's Mike's backyard, is this. He does all this testing with his V8 and his Porsche here. I can see this is one track that favours Mike, but we've been testing here as well. We've put some good times in. We're happy with the car. Few problems yesterday, but as always, we're 100%.
Tell me about the problems yesterday.
We just had a slight problem with the release bearing. Basically, I'm running a dog box anyway, so it didn't bother me. I still got some time in with my car, which we're happy with. Lads have done a great job in getting it back together again, and we're all set for today.
What job does a release bearing do for the uninitiated like me, for example?
Basically, all it does, it's a hydraulic release bearing. Most cars run on cables. It's to operate the clutch, basically, so you can get it in and out of gear. It's solely just to set off in these cars. We don't use the clutch again then once we're racing.
Mike Jordan, racing in your own backyard this weekend, how does it feel?
Oh, it's just fabulous being here. We obviously do a lot of testing with some of our other cars up here, so I know this circuit well, so it should be a good result for us, hopefully.
Big advantage over Stevie Hodgson for you?
I think on track knowledge, because it is such a technical track, you've got to say yes it is. He followed me this morning, his car looks pretty well set up, but I think it is just track knowledge that will make a difference around here. But I'm sure in the race it'll be different. When he gets on the bumper, he'll soon find the pace.
It's a new venue for Eurocars. Who else do you think will go well here?
Well, Paul Eaton seems to be going very well this morning. I know he's been up here 2 or 3 times testing. And Barry should go well. I mean, he's raced Caterham here and he's raced a big truck here, so I think he was struggling with his setup this morning, but I'm sure he'll get there.
You're anticipating close action at the front of the field?
Oh, always is, isn't it? Yes, so I'm looking forward to getting in the races.
Round 8 of the Eurocar V8 Championship and the first ever visit to the Donington Park National Circuit. Some say it's Mike Jordan's home yard, others say that Stevie Hodgson's technical expertise will suit him well. Well, Stevie Hodgson's technical expertise may well suit him well here, but it is a very technical circuit, Donington Park, and Mike Jordan, as we've already mentioned, has raced a number of cars here with great success. And look at the front row, we've got Mike Jordan on pole position, He was 0.69 seconds quicker than Stevie Hodgson in familiarisation this morning. And we're on board here with Alfora in the Team Brass #2 car. Graham Miller up ahead of him as they try and get some heat into those control tyres. And they'll drop down what some drivers describe as the terrifying Craner curves. Well, there's the view back from Mike Jordan's machine, and you can see there Stevie Hodgson, the White Warrior, in that white #7 car. But look too for Chris Dawkins. He's back there on the outside of the second row in 22, and on the inside of him, Paul Eaton in the Arco car. So Paul Eaton, particularly his team, have been practicing very hard on pit stops, and we are going to see pit stops here at Donington Park in this race. Well, that's the view that Stevie Hodgson has, the pace car with Stuart Bradburn at the wheel of that up ahead of him. That's the view coming out of McLean's, and they'll make the rise up the hill towards the double apex Coppice corner. Well, Stevie Hodgson and his team were desperately keen to do what Barry Lee has been doing, and that's to get some testing here at Donington. That is the veteran Barry Lee, and that's the view we've got from his onboard camera. Mark Willis, remember, a winner at Mallory Park at the opening round of this series, and he's going to start from the outside of that third row alongside Barry Lee. Coming into the S's then, and just checking back through the details here, and we'll see how they come up. Let's just take a look down, and there they are, Hodgson and Jordan alongside each other, and they wait for the greens to fly. And the greens fly, and it's a cracking start by the two front row men, but who's going to give quarter to each other? Well, they're all lining up behind. We're on board here with Hodgson. To the inside of him is Jordan, and they're braking very late indeed. And there's contact down there. Jordan is pushed wide by Hodgson, or rather Hodgson out wide into the gravel trap, and that's a disastrous start for Stevie Hodgson, and Mike Jordan's dropped places as well. He's back in the middle of the pack. Desperate misfortune for Jordan. Well, on board here with Alfora down the Craner curves. Graham Miller up ahead. Alfora didn't get the best of starts for himself, but they'll swing it through the Old Hairpin, dropping down through the gearbox, and away in the distance at McLean's. That's the view. Cracking stuff from all of the drivers. Through McLean's they run. Barry Lee there with Kevin Clark just behind him. Let's just have a look at that restart from Barry Lee's car. This is the replay. Paul Eaton up ahead of us. Let's see the braking very, very late indeed. And in fact, a little bit of contact there between the Arco car. And there's Hodgson off in the gravel, and Jordan too is off in the gravel. And that's scattered here and there, but great break for Paul Eaton, because as they come back this time, Paul Eaton is our leader, Chris Dawkins second, Barry Lee there in third then, Clark, Willis are the next two, the whole of the field making it through, and there is Hodgson at the back of the field. Now, has he damaged that car? His exhaust is trailing there to the rear of that car, and here we are back on board with Mike Jordan looking back. Well, Jordan trying to make up places, and he's to the inside of Kevin Clark this time. He'll pick up that position from Kevin Clark, so that will move him up, and they're going to be black flagging. In fact, it's the black flag with the orange disc on it. That means that they are unhappy with something of the car. Let's just see who that flag is going to go out to. I suspect it's Stevie Hodgson. We noticed last time that Stevie came through the exhaust pipe, and the rear of his V8 is dragging along the floor. I don't know if we get a shot of it this time. Look at the rear, yeah, it is, it's dragging there. The exhaust down on Hodgson's car. Well, Stevie Hodgson, we get news he's going to come in this time as Mike Jordan continues to make amends for that first lap incident. Now look for the white car, Hodgson due in, here he comes, he's had the signal from the pit crew, so Hodgson in, and Scott will work on that car. Scott Newton, the crew chief on Stevie's team, there they are, attacking the back of that car. They've got the cutters, and they're trying desperately. Now what is going through poor Stevie's mind as he sits there in the car, the time ticking away, and that is going to be dreadful misfortune for young Hodgson. Well, they've got it off, and back out he goes to rejoin the fray. Mike Jordan now making great progress. He really has put a stranglehold on this race since that earlier incident. And looking back, Barry Lee and Mark Willis having a good tangle. Oh, Paul Eaton spins! Paul Eaton spins along with Chris Dawkins. Now that is going to be problems for Dawkins. There is his car. You see there, absolutely nothing he can do. Tyre rub on that front tyre, and that is going to be the end of Dawkins' race. Up ahead, you see Dawkins off in the gravel trap from Barry Lee's on board, so Chris Dawkins languishing in the gravel down at Redgate. Well, poor old Paul Eaton there in that 44 car, he led early on. But the man at the moment who's really on it is Stevie Hodgson, trying to salvage some points for this race. Remember, he was 10 points behind Mike Jordan arriving here, but he's lost a heap of places as a result of that problem with the exhaust having gone off into the gravel. Be interesting to hear his thoughts later, but here's the man at the moment. Mike Jordan picks up 200 points for his win. He took the lead of 2 here at Donington Park, the V8, and there is Stevie Hodgson. He, with him finishing lowly down the field in race 1, gets a front row position alongside Al Bora behind the pace car there. Second row of Davy Philp, and alongside him, Phil White. And there is Barry Lee, who picked up that 3rd place in our opening race. And well, I think Barry now has given up all hope perhaps of a championship again this year, but believe you me, he'll want to push on hard to try and get as many points as he can and to rise up that championship table. Mike Jordan will start from the rear of the grid alongside Ian Mitchell, who failed to finish in the first race, and they make their way past the exhibition centre here at Donington, all keeping a steady station. Now Stevie Hodgson really has got to work hard here, because he needs maximum points from this. He will want to try and get a breakaway from Alf Bora and Davy Philp and Phil White behind him. But don't rule out Kevin Clark in this race as well. He's the man on the outside of that 3rd row. Paul Eaton in the distinctive blue and fluorescent orange livery there on the outside, the 44 machine, and they come through the S's. They look good this time. The pace car is in, and we're about to get flying for 10 laps of Donington Park's National Circuit. Watch for the greens. And the greens go, the lights go green, and Barry Lee makes a jump to the outside. Well, my word, is he going to try and get down the inside? I don't think he is. Oh, and Al Bora snaking. There's contact behind between Tony Gale and Kevin Clark. Oh, there's a right old mishmash. Oh, and Ian Mitchell smashes into the backside of Chris Dawkins' car. Mark Willis there on the outside of Jordan. Jordan's pushed on the grass on the top of the Crater curves. Unbelievable stuff here from the V8. Look at the stripes laid down by Mark Willis there as he locks up the wheels on that 65 car up ahead of us, braking into the old hairpin. It's real heart-to-mouth stuff. Oh, and back end sliding out underneath Starkey's bridge. And look at that already in just half a lap as Alf Bora there fighting for grip desperately, but Hodgson's got the drop he wanted. He'll come through McLeans with about 4 or 5 car lengths over Davy Philp, Alf Bora, Kevin Clark, and then the rest of the field trading through. But look at the damage on Chris Dawkins' machine there. Just shows you how flimsy that bodywork is as Jordan tries to use the racetrack and everything else besides at Coppice. And I think he's going to pay off for him as well. He's side by side with Mark Willis. No drafting here, as you might see over in NASCAR, but if they need it, that's the place to use it on that long straight down here to the S's. Squealings of tyres. Everybody grappling for grip, and lots of them locking up as well as they come across the line. Hodgson leads, Davy Philp from Scotland second, Al Bora third, then Clark, Eaton, Lee, and the rest of them really all wanting to come home in 6th place. At the moment though, that 6th place is occupied by Mike Jordan, although he's going to make it 5th. So Jordan sneaks through. In fact, that does put Jordan up into 6th, and still Ian Mitchell and Buzz Dawkins in the 22 car fighting it out. As up ahead, Hodgson drives down the Craner curves. Very majestic stuff. Kevin Clark moves up a place ahead of Alf Bora. Those two teammates in 1997, but in V6s that year. And a partnership that worked reasonably well. Both would have liked to have got a bit more out of it, but at the moment, oh, and Jordan using all his skill at McLean's. And all the curve as well. Paul Eaton will have seen the man from just outside Sutton Coldfield slide on through to the inside of him, and what a tremendous performance this by Mike Jordan. He is now there up into 5th place, and behind him Paul Eaton. Then a bit of a gap back to that trio of Barry Lee, Mark Willis and Graham Miller in the Caversham car, but here they come into the braking area. Jordan protects his line, occupies the centre of the track, and they all file on through. There is Mark Willis. Willis, who, like Stevie Hodgson, made the jump up from V6 to V8 power. You might recall as this time Jordan goes to the inside of Alf Bora and he's on through. Mike Jordan through then at Redgate. He really is picking off these places as though he was picking flowers in a meadow. No trouble at all for him. And look at the distance he opens up already on Alf Bora, and that is his target. You can see the distance there as Hodgson turns in through the old hairpin. Mike Jordan on the left-hand section of the Craner curves. And I think Paul Eaton fancies his chances about getting round Alf Bora as well. He's got to watch his mirrors though, because Barry Lee is all over him, and this the battle for second place. Davy Phil, there is third place Kevin Clark. Kevin really didn't get the opportunity to do as much testing here as he would have liked, and he really needs to try and put a good run of results together if he's to put himself in the top 5 this year. Paul Eaton, oh, and Alfora just ran a bit wide there. I think Eaton will go to the inside of him, and he might just take Barry Lee with him too. Well, here is drafting now. Barry Lee tucks in behind, but up ahead, second, third and fourth place. Phil in 89 is there in second. Hodgson already flashing through the bottom of the screen there. Oh, and Paul Eaton and Barry Lee going to go through on Alfora. Alfora can't do anything. He's going to lose the place to Mark Willis, who will go round the outside of him. He is great stuff, isn't it? The V8s have been entertaining ever as they have been in V6. They're smaller cousins, but these cars running 5.8 litre V8 engines. Oh, and a bit of a nudge there from Clarkey on Davy Phil. But look at Jordan, he's in a class of his own. 500 plus brake horsepower he's got underneath the bonnet of that V8. And all of these cars, their engines built by Jack Roush Racing over in the US. Jack Roush, of course, who runs a multi-car team with the likes of Mark Martin, Chad Little and Jeff Burton. That's the power plant that they've got underneath there, although there are British engineers involved, and one of the foremost is the man who engineers that car, and now Stevie Hodgson's and Mike Jordan's car, John Tuvey, is the ace over in the UK. And there were, in fact, 3 engine builders at one time, but Tuvey seems to be able to tweak these engines better than the others so far anyway, and that's why he's the man retained by most of these teams. And oh, it's Kevin Clark looking to try and pick a place up. That will put him third. Hodgson still leads, he completes another lap, as does Mike Jordan. Mark Willis locking a wheel, he's going to have to take to the grass there. That might cost him a place from Graham Miller. He scrambles back on. Look how close they are though. That's the battle for third, fourth, fifth and sixth there. And Barry Lee can't find a way past Paul Eaton, can he? Graham Miller in 71, Mark Willis there in 65. And I started to say before how Mark Willis progressed into V8s along with Stevie Hodgson, and they absolutely took the V8s regulars by storm when they won the opening 2 races of the season. Quite phenomenal performance from those two, and it has to be said that Hodgson's gone on to have the better season of the two. Mark Willis has found some difficulties in setting up his car. They've tried everything they can to hone the suspension, but Willis's oval background and the knowledge of the team that he's assembled around him seems to be wanting just a little bit. Not, I can tell you, in terms of effort, but just in terms of knowledge. They've tried absolutely everything. They've worked so hard, perhaps harder than many of the teams out there, but they just can't find the setup, whatever they do. Now look at this. The gap is closing. Mike Jordan is hunting down that white target, and that white target is Stevie Hodgson, but still third, fourth and fifth. Kevin Clark, Paul Eaton and Barry Lee. Graham Miller having a good run. I beg his pardon, it's actually Davy Phil there, 6, Graham Miller 7, and Alfora, is he going to leave another place to Chris Dawkins? Just looking at that car, whether there's tyre rub going on there, but I think that Chris Dawkins is actually getting away with that in the 22. Another lap completed then of this 2-mile national circuit. Let's just have a closer look there at the rear of Chris Dawkins' car. Well, there's a little bit of smoke coming from there, but it doesn't seem to be anything that might cause it to be terminal. And at the moment, oh, a bit on the ragged edge there is Stevie Hodgson, and that will be another 10th gain by Mike Jordan. I heard him say earlier on how it's a very technical circuit, this Donington Park, and here is Jordan, clips the apex there, up to Schwantz Curve. That is Schwantz Curve, again clips the apex there, bit of a rumble strip moment for Mike Jordan, and look how tight he is on the apex, runs it out wide coming out of McLean's. And that engine and gearbox working really hard. Jordan is flying here, but there's a great scrap going on behind. Third, fourth and fifth, closer than ever they were. And Barry Lee still at it. Used to race, started in fact his career, if I remember rightly, in Speedway, and has since then has gone on to be a former world hot rod champion and also to race the big trucks. But I'm very, very impressed indeed by Paul Eaton, and that's going to help him. Clarkey's missed his braking point and gone straight on at the S's. Oh, well, it seems to be that everywhere during a race, Kev Clark makes a mistake, and look how that's dropped him back into the clutches of Davy Phil. And behind him, Graham Miller. This is now a 4-car battle. And Clark might just rescue a place back here, but that was a very silly mistake by him. Well, oh, hello, bit of nudging and boring. Oh no, Dawkins has gone straight on at Redgate. Well, he finished the first race in the gravel trap there at Redgate. I don't think he's going to finish this one. He's just rejoined, but up ahead, it really has closed up now as we get into the closing laps of this 10-lapper. The first ever time that the V8s have run at Donington, and running here on a Saturday night is a new innovation for Eurocars. It's the way that Sonny Howard, the founder, sees things developing, but Jordan, look how he's reeled him in. It's a prize catch for Jordan, but can he get past as they come out of McLeans? Jordan gets to the inside, Hodgson now moves across, blocks him, Jordan feints to the left. That's going to be a better line into the double apex cockpit. Oh, and a lock wheel there from Stevie Hodgson, that will be it. Jordan will surely get through this time, side by side onto the main exhibition straight. And, well, there's different gearing there, isn't there, on these two cars? You can see that Jordan changed almost as soon as he was out of coppice. But Stevie Hodgson will lose the line here, but he fights back side by side through the S's. You'll not see that very often. Can Hodgson get the grip? I don't think he can. The back end slides out, and Mike Jordan takes the lead. Well, unbelievably defensive driving there from Stevie Hodgson, but despite the fact of summoning all those defences, here as they complete lap 7 of the 10, Jordan goes through to lead, but Hodgson will try and fight him back. Said before, 200 points for a win, you get 175 points for a second place. So Hodgson really does need to try and reverse the positions of the are, but our race leader there in the 77 car is Mike Jordan. And as they come back into our site here and up the hill, you do get some idea there of the rise up towards McLeans, where the Donington Park Supporters Club generally have their headquarters. And Stevie Hodgson is fighting for grip. We heard, oh, look at this battle going on behind. Barry Lee scrambling over the apex of the corner in the one car. And he got that number by being the first ever driver to register in Eurocars. Eurocar doesn't follow the traditional numbering system where the champion has the number 1. These drivers, very much like in NASCAR in America, pick their numbers and they stick with that number as long as they can throughout their career. And here we go. Oh, Leafy's lost it there. Well, that's going to be a bit of breathing space for Paul Eaton, who has really impressed this year. Did V6s for a couple of seasons and made the mighty leap up to the V8 500 brake horsepower category. And, well, it's paid off for him, as it has perhaps not as well for Davy Phil there in the 89 car. They're still at it. Absolutely brilliant stuff here. And can Barry Lee make it work? They're on the 8th lap of the 10. Through the corner they go, up to Schwantz. Barry Lee needs to make a dive for it if he possibly can. Still Mike Jordan out front, by the way, with Stevie Hodgson. I have to say that Jordan is, for those of you that are Hodgson fans, is inching away. But there is Barry Lee in the wheel tracks. Now, where's he going to make the move, if indeed he is? Further back down the field, they are fighting out for those places. There's Phil White going through. Down in 10th position. Oh, that engine sounds dreadful, doesn't it? Well, it's not on song at all, that V8. And, Chris Dawkins, a retirement into the pit lane, and looks to me as though he's heading to the garage. I think he's given up the ghost with his car. It's not been the happiest of weekends for him, but he is certainly one to watch. And there's a bit of antics going on again, still for this third place. There is Eaton and Lee. And behind, Kevin Clark is closing on them, but he's misjudged the braking point again and scrambles over the agricultural stuff here. Oh, and Al Four has lost it. Well, poor old Al. He'll get it fired up. Well, Phil White had a spin in sympathy. I think what we'll do is we'll leave them to Donington Park, where Mike Jordan is about to start his final lap of this enthralling V8 Eurocar race. That's the lead he has over Stevie Hodgson. I can tell you that Al Fora and Phil White did get themselves sorted out, but here is Barry Lee riding the wheel tracks now, and Paul Eaton, this could be Leafy's last chance to get through. Can he possibly make it? They're going to be side by side into Redgate. That's the long way round, Barry. But he might just make it work. He's been an absolute force to be reckoned with. But you can see how much respect there is between these two. Onto the top of the crater curves they come, and they're still side by side. Mike Jordan up ahead, though, looks set fair, and this time behind. Barry Lee is making a move on Paul Eaton. Well, we're going to concentrate with our leader at the moment through the old hairpin. But Barry Lee, I can tell you, just spotting it, has made the move through. There he is, just through the top of the crater curves. Barry snuck through there, up into third place, but Paul Eaton is fighting back. Here they come.